JBNN will keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones, and in the news, chef's quick action quells fire at Buff Bay Primary. A chef from the Buff Bay Primary School in Portland is now being treated for smoke inhalation following a fire this morning at that institution. Principal Jacqueline Edwards said quick action on the part of the chef, Tajay Williams, prevented the fire from spreading to other areas of the school. According to the principal, after realizing that an electrical breakout caught fire in the school's library, Williams quickly grabbed a fire extinguisher and attempted to douse the fire. However, she said that effort proved to be unsuccessful. He then ran to another area of the school for another fire extinguisher, but on his return, he fell. He somehow picked himself up and re-entered the library, where he managed to put out the fire, said Edwards. Williams was later taken to a nearby clinic where he was treated. No one was injured in the blaze, which was confined to the breaker in the library. The Buff Bay Fire Department reportedly inspected the school and gave the all-clear signal. 2 pistols seized, 2 injured following shooting in Augustown. 2 guns and several rounds of ammunition were seized following a shooting incident on Bryce Hill Road in Augustown on Tuesday, which left 2 men injured. Reports are that about 9:40 p.m., residents heard explosions and summoned the police. On arrival of the police, 1 man was seen with gunshot wounds and a magazine containing 13 9mm cartridges found beside him. Investigations led the police to search the premises, in which 1 Taurus 9mm pistol, 1 Beretta 9mm pistol, and 3 additional 9mm cartridges were found atop a roof. The injured man was taken to hospital for treatment. Another man later turned up at the hospital with gunshot wounds, reporting that he was injured in the same area. Both are being treated under police guard while detectives probe the incident. Shotgun and ammo seized in Constant Spring. 1 shotgun and 7 12-gauge cartridges were seized at Park Lane, Constant Spring, St. Andrew on Tuesday. Reports from the Constant Spring police are that about 4:40 p.m., a team of officers conducted an operation in the Park Lane area where a premises was searched and the gun and ammunition found in a white knitted bag. No one was arrested in connection with the seizure. Investigations continue. Policeman hit with multiple charges for alleged rape of woman in St. Elizabeth. 1 of 4 police constables implicated in the alleged robbery and sexual assault of a female motorist in Black River, St. Elizabeth, has been charged. Constable Alwyn Hill was charged for 5 offences based on a ruling delivered by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Hill has been charged with rape, grievous sexual assault, forcible abduction, corruptly soliciting, and simple larceny. He remains in custody, and a date for him to appear in court is to be decided on Wednesday. It is alleged that about 10 p.m. on Monday, January 30, the woman was driving along the Crawford Main Road in a car with a demonstration license plate. She was signaled to stop by members of a police team who were manning a checkpoint. The 26-year-old woman, whose name has been withheld, allegedly offered the cops $7,000, which he had on her, to avoid being ticketed, but they demanded $50,000. According to the reports, the cops took the woman to an ATM in Black River, where she attempted to withdraw the $50,000 but was unsuccessful. She was then told by one of the cops to drive to a nearby supermarket, which was taken to the back of the building. The constable allegedly raped her and threatened to kill her if she reported it. The constable also used her debit card to purchase some items. The woman, however, reported the matter at the Santa Cruz police station, where arrangements were made for her to be medically examined. The 4 constables were taken into custody, but 3 have since been released. Court quashes Chang's revocation of businessman's gun license. The Judicial Review Court has quashed the decision of Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, to revoke the firearm license of a Kingston warehouse supervisor and has remitted the matter to the review board for a hearing. The court declared last month that the failure of the review board to hold a hearing was in breach of the Firearms Act. Therefore, its recommendation to the Minister of National Security was illegal, null and void, and of no legal effect. The claimant's license was revoked by the Firearm Licensing Authority FLA in February 2019. The claimant was charged in 2015 with possession of ganja, dealing in ganja, attempting to export ganja, and conspiracy to export ganja. He said he was successful in renewing his license 3 times after the charges were laid. The FLA conducted investigations and revoked his license in 2019 on the basis that he was not a fit and proper person to retain a license. He was freed of the charges in October 2019 after the prosecution failed to establish a case against him. The claimant, who was represented by attorneys at law Pierre Rogers and Monique MacLeod, contended that the review board failed to conduct a hearing within the statutory time of 90 days and instead took more than 18 months to consider his application for an appeal. It was also argued that the review board failed to advise him of the details of the allegations and failed to give him an opportunity to respond to the claims. Attorney at law Courtney Foster, who represented the FLA, submitted that the claimant was given an opportunity to be heard when the FLA asked him to give a statement. She argued that the FLA operated within the law by revoking the license solely on the adverse report against the complainant. The court agreed with Foster that there was no duty to provide reasons and or conduct a hearing at the time the FLA made the decision to revoke the license. Justice Sona Whit-Blair granted declarations that the decision arrived at by the minister to revoke the claimant's firearm user's license was in breach of the Firearms Act and ultra-virus. The minister's decision to affirm the recommendation to revoke the license was declared to be irrational. The court also ruled that the proceedings to oppose the decision of the FLA to revoke the license issued to the complainant were in breach of the principles of natural justice. In questioning the revocation, the court ordered the minister to remit the claimant's application to the review board for a hearing at which the claimant or his legal representative may be present. The court ordered the review board to give detailed reasons to the claimant for the allegations made against him to facilitate his representation on review, as well as the date for the hearing. The review board must submit its recommendations to the minister within 90 days of the receipt of the matter, the court ordered. Attorney at law Faith Hill, instructed by the Director of State Proceedings, represented the review board and the minister. Popular anchovy St. James Bar operator murdered. A popular anchovy St. James Bar operator was gunned down while at Lawson Square in the parish on Monday afternoon. He is 38-year-old Sheldon Gold, who lived in Rampton District in Anchovy. The shooting happened around 3:10 p.m. The police reported that Gold was walking along the roadway when he was pounced upon by two armed men who opened fire. He was shot multiple times. His attackers escaped into the area on foot. The police were summoned and Gold was transported to the Cornwall Regional Hospital. He later succumbed to his injuries. 20-year-old gunned down at home in St. Anne. A man was shot and killed at his home in Steertown, St. Anne, early Wednesday morning. He has been identified as 20-year-old Kimani Letman, who is unemployed. A police source said that about 2:30 a.m., Letman was inside his house when gunmen opened fire, hitting him. The police were alerted and was taken to hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Investigations continue. 5 men wanted by St. Catherine Police. The St. Catherine North Police have listed 5 men as wanted for various crimes committed in the division. In a media release on Wednesday, the police said, in an effort to continue their robust efforts to improve the safety of residents and people who conduct business in the St. Catherine North Police Division, they were making an urgent appeal for the men to turn themselves into the Spanish Town Police immediately. They are 28-year-old Kima Bloomfield, otherwise called Dutch, Daddy, Earth and Shooter of Taws Meadows, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Bloomfield is wanted for murder and illegal possession of firearm. D. Norman, otherwise called Max, of Berbick District, Bogwalk and Above Rocks District, both in St. Catherine. Norman is wanted for murder. Kevin Fletcher, otherwise called Tippy, of Victoria District, Linstead, St. Catherine, wanted for shooting with intent. Junior Brown of Springvale District, Bogwalk, St. Catherine, and a Greendale, Manchester address, is wanted for murder. And 50-year-old Radcliffe Perry, otherwise called Raddy, of York Street, Victoria District, Linstead in St. Catherine, is wanted for wounding with intent and robbery with aggravation. These men are asked to turn themselves into the Spanish Town Police by 5 p.m. on Thursday. In addition, anyone with information that can assist the police in locating these men is being asked to contact the Spanish Town Police at 876-984-2305. That's 876-984-2305 or Crime Stop at 311. Relatives say man shot dead by cops mentally challenged. Relatives and friends of Peter Francis have challenged the police's claim that their loved one was armed with a gun when he was fatally shot in Havana, Arnett Gardens, St. Andrew Monday night. Police reported that someone was shot dead during a shootout with gunmen and a gun was seized. The incident, which took place on Monday night about 7 p.m., was followed by a roadblock by irate residents for what they said was an unjust killing, as a 52-year-old was suffering from a mental breakdown. When asked about the incident, Senior Superintendent of Police Michael Phipps, commanding officer for the Kingston Western Police Division, said that the Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom was probing the matter. "We're involved in a shootout with gunmen, and at the end of it one person was hit and a firearm was recovered from that person. That is all we're willing to see on that, as Indicom is investigating, so we'll just allow them to do the investigation," he said. Francis's relatives, whose names are being withheld, continuously broke down in tears while speaking about the tragic incident. "Peter really dead?" said Francis's mother as she burst into tears while being comforted by her relatives and close friends at her house. "Me never know see so hot. Me lose my second child. Him a gunman. All him do is sell a town. If me couldn't walk, me pitney couldn't dead so," she added. One of his sisters recalled getting the sad news about Francis, who is commonly referred to as Jokey, while on a phone call. "When I was on the phone with my brother in the kitchen, I turned to come out of the kitchen and two police that me see with gun in my face who asked, 'Where him there? Where him there?' she said. So me say, 'Where who there?' So when I approached the veranda, I heard my brother on the phone saying, 'A gunshot that?' At that time, I hear the neighbors them scream and I shout, 'Him sick, him sick, him sick,' she said. According to the sister, Francis had been visiting his mother when he ran off after seeing the police were in the area. 'Him run because him afraid of police,' she said. Another sister explained that Francis started displaying abnormal behavior after their father died in 2022 and he and his spouse ended their relationship of some 20 years. "Him start out being depressed. We lose our father in 2020 to cancer. And Peter said to me, 'I don't even mourn my father yet.' And then afterwards, he and him baby mother separate. So that triggered a mental breakdown," the sister said. "We tried getting help for him, called the police and them wouldn't come. My brother does not have a gun. He wouldn't be involved in that," the sister added. Man charged for murder of British visitor linked to other crimes. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitzbilly yesterday disclosed that the man charged for the shooting death of a British national at a guest house in St. James last month has been linked to other murders. Javon Brown, 23, of Baileystown, Clarendon, was charged over the weekend for the January 2 murder of Sean Patterson. Patterson was visiting Jamaica. Brown was being charged with murder and using a prohibited weapon to commit murder is expected to go to court next week. Speaking at yesterday's monthly Jamaica Constabulary Force press conference, Bailey said that he has been tied to other crimes. He was picked up in relation to this matter, but there were additional matters that he was involved with. For example, he was involved with a double murder. In Kingston Central, he was arrested and charged with the murder of 2 persons, and there was also another murder that took place in Kingston Central that he's wanted for. He'll be charged with that one, Bailey said. Major crimes down 31%, say police. The police are reporting a 31% decline in all major crimes since the start of the year, with murders down by 34% over the corresponding period of 2022. Commissioner of Police, Major General Anthony Anderson, who provided the statistics at a digital press briefing on Tuesday, said that shootings are down by 26%, rapes by 44%, and break-ins 7%. He said that gang conflicts accounted for 65% of all murders committed during the period. Interpersonal conflicts accounted for 22%, while 3% occurred in the furtherance of other criminal acts and 10% are being determined, he noted. "We note the significant number of murders from interpersonal conflicts impacting police divisions, and we renew our appeal to citizens. If you're aware of a domestic dispute or other interpersonal conflict, report it to the police so we can intervene," Major General Anderson urged. Turning to other matters, the police commissioner said that the process of boosting the Jamaica Constabulary Force is ongoing. He informed that the target of adding more than 1,200 members to the organization by the end of the financial year is moving apace, and invited young people who want to make a positive impact on the society to apply to join the force. In addition, he said the fleet of motorcycles was recently boosted with disbursements to St. Catherine North, St. Andrew North, St. Elizabeth and St. James. "We continue to train additional motorcycle drivers as we expand our quick response team's capability," he said, noting that the bikes allow for prompt response in and around town centers. No more child seat requirements. Government bows to public pressure. The government has abandoned the requirement of child restraint systems for children up to 12 years old using public transportation. The about turn comes less than a week after the new Road Traffic Act took effect on February 1 and following public outcry from operators of public transportation as well as parents. Minister of Transport Audley Shaw outlined the changes in a ministerial statement in the House of Representatives Tuesday afternoon. By way of compromise, Children under 1 year old must be restrained by an adult. Those 1 to 3 years old are allowed to travel with no restraint or be restrained by an adult. The other changes are as follows. Children 3 to 6 years old may travel without restraint, restrained by an adult or a lap belt. Children 6 to 9 years old may travel without restraint or with a lap belt. Children over 9 years old may travel without restraint with a lap belt or a 3-point seat belt. Shaw stressed that only children of the weight and size to use an adult seat belt are permitted to travel in the front passenger seat. In addition, when an adult is restraining a child, the adult should not be in the front. Children under 1 year old are to be restrained by an adult in all forms of transport, said Shaw. He added that all of the children must be transported using appropriate restraint based on their size and weight. The Transport Minister said the guidelines have been set out so persons can determine what kind of restraint is applicable for different categories. In summary, children traveling in licensed taxis and buses are allowed to do so without restraint, but where a lap belt is available, it should be used. If a child is a size to use an adult belt, this may be used if available. In all instances, the driver must wear a seatbelt whether operating privately or transporting public passengers. In justifying the sweeping changes, Shaw argued that the realities of our public passenger transportation system and how it operates will place an undue burden on parents whose children need to travel in public transportation, whether accompanied by an adult or not. The risk of the inability to access transportation services may exceed the risk associated with travel without using a child restraint system, and in this regard, the rules applicable to public transport vehicles will have to be less stringent than those of private vehicles. Shaw explained that a regulation is to be inserted making reference to the type of child restraint required for the conveyance of children based on age and size in different types of vehicles. In this regard, the child seat requirement will be added to the 13th schedule to set out what is required for different categories of vehicles based on the different age or size ranges and different types of restraints. Meanwhile, Shaw told the House that 25 tickets were issued for breaches related to Section 73 of the RTA, which is now being amended. He said consideration will have to be given to those who were ticketed. He also said the government will allow a period of 3 months while the act is in force to look at other possible changes to the new law, which comes with far more punitive fines for road traffic breaches. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.